Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner. Excuse me. Classic slash non-classic. This is episode number 540 and Doubleshot number 447. Just want to make sure of that. Yep. Alright. Now there are at least two Spider-Gwen trades. Yep, that's what I'm reviewing. First up, it is Spider-Gwen Volume 2. This is the hardcover collecting about 2 volumes worth of collecting. These are the issues in here. Spider-Gwen Volume 2, issue 1715. Despite the fact these issues are actually, get this. Let me think. I think it's well, 15 is 20. That's like 9. So these are like issues 12 to 20. Yeah, 12 to 20 of Spider-Gwen. This is, of course, the proper numbering, the 5-pack Marvel relaunch in 2015. The Spider-Gwen Annual and the all-new Wolverine Annual, which is interesting, the fact they threw that in here. Now, the writing in here is done by a couple different writers. The Spider-Gwen 7 through 8, this is written by Dennis Hopeless, Jason Latour, and Robbie Thompson. The reason why it is like that because those 2 issues are part of the Spider-Women crossover. If I ever get my hands on the trade for that, I will give my thoughts on that particular crossover. It's a very good crossover nonetheless, but I'll save those 2 issues for later. 9 to 15 is written by Jason Latour and artwork by Robbie Rodriguez. Rodriguez did not do the artwork for issue 7 and 8. That's done by Bengal. Yeah, I don't know why though, but he did do that for some strange reason. The annual, of course, is done by Jason Latour, but there's like several different artists on here for the Spider-Gwen annual. You have Chris Bonner, Emil Lonix, Chris Visions, Olivia Moncrief, Apatila Madacayo, I'm sorry to mispronounce your name, James Harpin, Jason Latour, obviously, because he also works as an artist as well. The guy's really good at artwork, too. Michael Wilson, Javier Rodriguez, Alvaro Lopez, and Veronica Fish. Yeah. The annual all-new Wolverine. That's done by Tom Taylor, who is the regular writer of this book. He's still writing this book. Yeah, this book is publishing now for almost 3 years. Yeah, that's a bit of a surprise for a book like All New Wolverine. Especially since a lot of books nowadays only get maybe published a year or two, or at least maybe a half a year before they get canceled. The only reason I think this book is still being published because this book is good and it's popular and it's selling really well. The artwork itself is done by Marco Takira. Now, as for 9 to 15, these are just, stuff like, the Punisher. Yeah, this world's version Punisher, who is an NYPD officer who kind of takes over at, he's a detective who worked under George Stacy. He has since retired at the end of the first volume. He apparently decided to hire Kraven the Hunter to lure out Gwen Stacy. And here's something very creepy about this guy. He is stalking a 19-year-old girl. Yeah. Because he thinks that she is Spider-Woman. Well, he thinks that she is Spider-Woman. She's kind of seen it, but the whole stalking thing was ridiculous. Janie Will pops up in here as well, along with Captain America. We also get a chance to see this world's version of Electro, who doesn't have electricity powers at all, despite the fact there's a nod, the fact he kind of does. And Reed Richards pops up in here. Yeah, he first popped up in the Spider-Gwen tie-in for Spider-Woman, and he's black, and he's got gray in his hair, just like the 616 version. That's one of 2 things he has in common with his 616 counterpart, is that he has gray in his hair and he's smart. He does occasionally still pop up in here along with Cindy Moon, which is pretty good. Let's see. The Spider-Gwen Annual introduces this world's version of MODOK, who is... I'm not really sure why in the world that Jason Latour did this for. He made this book, get this. This world's version of MODOK is Donald Trump. No joke, it really is. And I even looked up what his name... he pops up in the Spider-Gwen Annual of all things. And here is what his name... Here's what the MODOK name stands for. Also forgot to mention this though. The annual was also the first first appearance of the Earth 65 version of She-Hulk. Yep, She-Hulk. Yep, she first pops up in the annual, which I'm glad that there is a version of her because I love this character and I think she'll get a lot more love. Too bad her ongoing series ending soon. Yeah, with next issue, her series is ending after issue 163. Here he is. MODOK, stand for Metal Organism Designed as America's King. Wow, kind of like a lady's name. And if you look at this guy, yeah, it is Donald Trump. I have no idea why in the world they thought this was a good idea to make MODOK Donald Trump. Donald Trump as MODOK, it's so bizarre. Yeah, this is MODOK. It's frickin' Donald Trump. I have no idea why Latour thought this was a good idea to do. Yeah, I have no idea why. Of course, also there's a backstory in here, and I love this, of the Earth 65 version of Captain America. She made a debut in the previous arc, in the first arc of this farm. This is her. Yeah, Captain America in this reality is a woman, and her name is Samantha Wilson. Yep. And she has been Captain America since 1940s. That's her right there. And if you're wondering, like, what happened to Steve Rogers and James Buchanan Barnes? Well, those two, along with Eliza Bradley, they were definitely candidates to become Captain America, but they were injured by Nazi agents, so they were not allowed to become Captain America. So Steve Rogers became illustrator. I think he became old. I think he's near death. And they even talk about, well, there's also the Watcher of this world, who looks so bizarre in this artwork. Yeah, this is the Earth 65 version of Uatu the Watcher. Yeah, he makes a few appearances in this series, because why not? Let's have a version of Uatu the Watcher. He's a fun character. Now, the annual for All New Wolverine is, get this, this is actually by far one of the most interesting ideas I have ever seen Tom Taylor do with this annual. Now, here's the gist of this annual. Laura and Spider-Gwen swap bodies. Yep, they swap. It's a body swap story where Laura is going around in Spider-Gwen's body, and it's like she doesn't know anything about slope swing and stuff like that. Oh yeah, and the person who did this, believe it or not, is the niece of the Hornet. Yeah, the original Hornet who was killed by Wolverine way back in a storyline called Enemy of the State. Awesome storyline. I believe Mark Millar wrote that story. And I also think that John Romita Jr. did the artwork. It's a really damn good story. I highly recommend it. It lasted 12 issues, and Marvel did, I think, just a few years ago, did release a special collected edition where they collect the entire storyline and trip, because originally was released in 2 volumes. Yeah, which I thought that was interesting. Otherwise, and aside from that, this is all really good. Spider-Gwen is a great series. It's unknown what's going to happen to this series with a fresh start. My personal guess is that nothing will happen to this series. It would just continue on normally, and I highly doubt Jason Latour will remove from the title. I should point out, though, this is actually one of like 3 or 4 titles published by Marvel right now where it still has the same writer on it after a long period of time. The only are books at Marvel that have this distinction of publishing maybe more than a year or two is not many titles. You have Thor by Jason Aaron, who, by the way, is still going to be on the book for that one. You have Miss Marvel by G. Willow Wilson. You have this book by Jason Latour, which book's publishing now for 3 years now, and All in the Wolverine by Tom Taylor. So you got 4 titles where it's all published by the same person. It's all written by the same person, and you know what's also really weird, though? 3 of these titles are all titles featuring women. Yep, all featuring women. One is a teenager. One is a college student. The other is kind kind of also a college student as well, if you know she's never been to college. Yeah. What do I give this book? I give this book a 9.5 out of 10. It's good. I highly recommend people who are fans of Spider-Gwen. And anybody also who is a fan of Laura, check this out because it has the annual in there, which I'm happy the fact they threw the annual in there because it makes sense. It's a team-up annual, so why not throw it in there? Excuse me, even though it's not written by Jason Latour, it's written by Tom Taylor. Alright? Next up is Spider-Gwen Volume 3, Predtaors. Actually, this is Volume 4, Predtaors. I did have the Volume 3 trade for this thing, but it collected already issues that I just reviewed, not trade I just reviewed. This one collects issues 19 and 23, which these issues are, let's see, 20 is 25, so this would be like 24 to about, I think it's, and this is, of course, according to the correct numbering for this series. I don't know why Marvel had to hit the restart button for this series. I'm trying to think, though. Let's see. I think it's 24 to 28. Yep. Still written by Jason. It's still the same creative team. Jason Latour, Robert Rodriguez. Yeah. These two are still the artists on here. Yeah. Though Robert Rodriguez just does, well, 23 has a co-writer on it, but for 1922, Robert Rodriguez basically does all the artwork in here, except for issue 23 that's done by 3 different artists, Hannah Botstrick, Jordan Gibson, and of course Rodriguez does it as well, but they do it with him. And Hannah Botstrick is also the co-writer on that issue. What happens in this storyline? Well, Gwen goes to Manchester to search for Harry Osborn, who is also the Green Goblin in this reality, and she runs into this world's version of Wolverine and Shadowcat. Oh, and by the way, Shadowcat apparently got Laura's origin story, where apparently she went through the Weapon X program as well, except she actually has 3 claws in her hand instead of like 2 in her hand and 1 in her foot, like Laura does. Now, I think I agree with a lot of people is like, I'm not sure exactly what people's full opinion is about introducing Earth 65 version of Wolverine. I don't have a really big problem with that because he's kind of like, well, the 616 version. And I do have a theory of why in the world they introduced him here. Because I think that Jason Latour probably got a memo. It's like, okay, Wolverine's popular. We have to bring him in to this book because this is practically one of 2 books published by Marvel, which is set in a different universe. I think this trade just came out very recently. Yeah, it came out just last year. Now, my personal guess is the reason why they did that because, well, Marvel was riding on the whole hype train with the film Logan, so they had to feature him everywhere. And also, because Marvel was missing Logan 616, so why not? Oh, if you wonder what he looks like in here, under Rodriguez's artwork, I want to show you. This is him. Here's a close-up of Wolverine's face under Robert Rodriguez's artwork. That's kind of what he looks like. He doesn't have the classic Wolverine costume. There's no mention of the X-Men in this reality at all. Yeah, oh yeah, if you wonder what's going on with Ben Grimm, yeah, Ben Grimm in this reality is a police officer. Yep. Oh yeah, and this is Shadowcat. Yep, that's her. That's Shadowcat. As for her working with Wolverine here, being like, well, his partner, I'm not surprised because they had a team-up series in the 80s, so why the heck not? It's not all that surprising. Yep. We also get a chance to see this world's version of Foggy Nelson, who is not that much different from how he is depicted in 616. He's a bit thinner. Yeah. That's the thing with Foggy Nelson in this reality. He's district attorney, still district attorney. And here's the thing I should point out, though. Foggy was district attorney back in the 70s for about 5 or 6 years, and then he lost to Blake Tower. Yep. And this is him under this artwork. As for him popping up in this reality, I'm not all that surprised. Due to the fact, well, you have Matt Murdock, why not feature Foggy Nelson? Oh yeah, and look at this one, you probably think, oh yeah, is this Karen Page? Nope, her name is Eliza. Or could she be Liz Allen? Nope, this is a woman named Eliza, a completely different person. It's like when people think of blonde women, usually the first people think of either Gwen Stacy or Liz Allen. This is a completely different person. Yep. Yeah. And I gotta admit, and we'll also get a flashback of, well, the Rhino in here. By the way, he made his first appearance in Gwen's first appearance, which was Edge of Spider-Verse #2. And this big bulky guy is the Rhino. Yep. That guy is the guy standing next to Matt Murdock, because you can tell easily that's him under the artwork. The guy with the red glasses is Matt Murdock. The big guy is the Rhino. You're thinking, okay, if this guy's supposed to be the Rhino, where is the heck is his Rhino suit? Well, he doesn't have one. But yeah, he is this world's version of the Rhino. That is a definite. And also in here, he also beats up George Stacy, who had basically had terms over the place because, well, he was aiding Spider-Woman. Now, and the whole thing with the lizard thing, yeah, that was set up in the first arc of this run, of this volume anyways. We also had the Bodega Bandit. Yeah, this minor reoccurring original villain. Yeah, I don't really care about this guy. Every time I see this guy show, I just expect Spider-Woman to basically punch him in the face a lot. Yeah. We even have a Stan Lee focus on the Mary Janes, which are consisted of Mary Jane Watson, Gloria Grant, and I'm trying to think, who is this woman with the black hair? Let me look her up here. Let's see. I mean, there's like 3 other people in this group. Let's see. Oh yeah, Betty Brant. Yeah, Betty Brant. So basically, you have 3 women who are part of this. Basically, if you look at the Mary Janes, they're pretty much all women who basically have been attached to Peter Parker over the years. All but Gloria Grant have actually dated the guy. Now, some of you are probably curious, though, where is 1618? Well, there kind of is an explanation for that. That trade is actually, that particular, yeah, that's actually, believe it or not, that's actually collected in the Sitting in the Tree crossover trade, which I have done a review of that. So, as of right now, I reviewed most of the trade issues that come on in trade so far, except for the opening 6 issues of this volume. As far as I know, there probably is another volume coming out. Yeah, collecting the Gwen stuff. Yeah, there's another coming out really soon. It comes out in May. So I have to wait a few months. Hopefully the library get a chance to get their hands on. Actually, Greatest Power I have reviewed, and I have basically I still haven't reviewed 2 trades that deal with the Spider-Gwen series. I have not reviewed Most Wanted, and I have not reviewed Spider-Woman. But pretty much, as far as I know right now, I have now reviewed pretty much all the trades released that collect issues from the Spider-Gwen series, all but 2 of them. So all that's left to go is just Volume 0 and the Spider-Woman trade. I'm going to get this book a 9 out of 10. The only reason why I think I'll give it a 9.25. The only reason I think a quarter point off from my 9.5 is because they have their own Wolverine. Though it's not surprising though, and it also, you can kind of say this is also set up for the Gwenom storyline, which comes right after this, which, by the way, is still going on right now in this comic book, where she's basically possessed by the Venom symbiote. Alright, so that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, which is going to be episode number 541, where I'm going to cover a Superman trade. You'll find out what it is in the next episode, okay? But until you see the next episode, bye.